Patagonia, an untamed wilderness where some of the most impressive natural spectacles on Earth can be found. In Patagonia, an annual war of massive proportions is being waged. It's spring in the southern hemisphere, and one of the most extraordinary events in all nature is in full swing. It's D-Day. Exactly the right time and place, always the same, to do battle. Here in this fascinating region, an imperceptible alarm call summons thousands, even millions of wild animals. From sea and land, all will answer the call. By air, super-skilled, swarming squads of birds arrive. The perfectly synchronized flight of thousands of common terns, wingtip to wingtip, occasionally coming into land on secluded beaches. These are the vanguard of the occupying forces. But the disembarkation has only just begun. Surging on land in waves thrown up by the waves, in a relentless marine assault, new battalions arrive from the sea. The amphibious forces have reached the beaches. All along the coast, hundreds of thousands of Magellanic penguins make landfall with a martial step. The company of penguins advances on the march and gradually occupies every inch of the beachhead. They immediately take possession of their territory, digging in among the stones and sand, creating a myriad of tiny trenches to house their nests. Some couples are in a hurry to begin their mating rituals. The first to arrive breathlessly gather plant material to make their eggs more comfortable. Even collecting stinging nettles. The first pairs of penguins to arrive here are already incubating their eggs. Taking turns according to a rigorous schedule, never leaving their future offspring alone for a single moment. The air is filled with noisy greetings and shouts of warning. Challenges and boasts are the order of the day. The tension in the environment is almost palpable. Every little hollow is a hard-earned home. And the best, those near the beach, are keenly disputed. Confrontation, both verbal and physical, is common. Duelists face up to each other in intense saber contests. The penguin's short beak is as tough and sharp as a knife. Some individuals may be seriously hurt and even die. While the Magellanic penguins establish their territory in the breakers, sea monsters have arrived from the depths. Gigantic elephant seals, the largest and also possibly the worst-tempered pinnipeds ever to have existed. Each male weighing up to 3 tons, is landlord of a small part of the beach, and by extension, any female that finds herself there. The bellicose male elephant seals move on land like huge battle-hardened caterpillars, tanks that flatten everything in their path. These seal sultans remain on their guard for the whole of the mating season, engaged either in battle or courtship. This requires such a tremendous expenditure of energy that they will lose up to 1 ton of their body weight in just a couple of months. A subordinate male approaches some females taking advantage of the leader's siesta. But the alpha does not take his eye off his harem and soon faces up to his rival. There's no question who's in charge here. The lesser male flees in frustration. But these massive beach boys defend their harems with all their strength, for very good reason. It's a unique moment in their lives. Males typically live for between 10 and 12 years, but will only mate for 1 or 2 seasons, when at the height of their powers, both socially and physically. Alpha males, lords of their territory and their females, will not rest for 2 months. Patrolling their portion of the beach night and day to be able to respond to any female in heat and never miss an opportunity to mate. Before any rival can copulate with one of his females, this male prevents her from getting too far away. After a certain amount of flirtation, a more intimate and affectionate relationship will be engendered. The giant male caresses his prospective partner until she gives in to his desires. Some males have been known to impregnate up to 150 females. The remaining males, the vast majority, can only look on in envy, given that they will never mate. In just a few days, the isolated beaches of the Valdez Peninsula on the Patagonian coast have become a heaving mass, the scene of a large amphibious landing. And now it's time for an aggressive fighting force to make an appearance. While penguins and seals take up residence on the sandy beaches, embroiled in family entanglements, one of the ocean's most ferocious hunters patrols the surf. Hidden until the last moment, an underwater unit of awesome power waits its turn. A family of orcas swimming parallel to the shore, just a few meters from the penguins and elephant seals. The Valdez Peninsula orcas sow terror wherever they go. The enemy all aquatic creatures fear. The submarine squad is ready to bring down any objective they deem worth the effort. The killer whales that patrol these shores have learned to exploit all resources offered by the Valdez Peninsula. But more than that, to take advantage of seasonal opportunities, they do something even more extraordinary. They train the young adults in their pod how to attack the shore and even run themselves. From the relative safety of dry land, a group of guanacos observes how the killer whales launch their coastal assault. This species of camelid seems not to be overly perturbed by the seaborne invasion. Male guanaco, like elephant seals, have their own harem and are responsible for supervising and caring for a large family. In fact, they're on duty 24 hours a day. It's the most delicate time of year for the male's clan. Females have begun to give birth to their calves all at the same time. And for their first few days, the chulengos, the baby guanaco, are very vulnerable. This group of mothers already has a kindergarten of playful newborns. Soon, they will have another playmate. A young mother has started to give birth. Within half an hour, the chulengo is lying on the ground, utterly still and defenseless. But after just 30 minutes more, it's able to get up and look for its mother and her cargo of warm, nutritious milk. And in just a little while longer, the newborn guanaco will be able to run and follow the group should danger arise. In the Patagonian plains and hills, to be able to run and be self-sufficient as soon as possible is quite simply a matter of life and death. The Patagonian theater of operations lies in the south of the Southern American continent, under a blazing sun. Covering an area as extensive as France and Germany together, Patagonia is a strange, unknown, and unyielding territory governed by its own laws. It's home to some of the most extraordinary fauna on the planet, adapted both to isolation and the cold, dry climate, similar to that of the Gobi and Arizona deserts. The landscape seems infinite. The violent wind drags clouds across a piercing blue sky, hardly ever letting them shed their precious load of water. The wind blasts every blade and every bush and cuts down their dreams of growing tall and proud like a knife. In Patagonia, plants do better by crouching low, dressed in thorns and tough leaves, protected from the cold, dry air and the relentless teeth of guanacos. The thorny scrubland is a perfect refuge for many steppe birds, which take shelter from wind and predators among gnarled branches. Each species has its own particular survival strategy, and now a real battle for existence is underway. A few hundred meters from the beaches, everything seems unaffected by the great oceanic invasion. The guanaco, with its tireless, silent foot patrols, does not harm the ecosystem. Guanacos, like all camels, are experts at surviving harsh semi-desert conditions. Apart from close family groups with one male leader, young males expelled by adult males form small companies. From when they're very young, they chase and engage in mock conflict to establish their place in the hierarchy. These troops of guanacos are perfectly adapted to the Patagonian territories, but they have been the victim of unrelenting persecution, with incredible numbers of casualties. A little over 2 centuries ago, the guanaco population exceeded 20 million individuals. Now, that number barely reaches 800,000. It would seem that they are losing the battle of survival. But the guanaco is a survivor, and is not alone in its role as this ecosystem's dominant large herbivore. Choike, or Darwin's rhea, accompany it as Patagonian standard-bearer. Darwin's rheas are endemic to Patagonia. They can weigh upward of 25 kilos, and they share their adventures and misadventures with the guanaco. Like them, they're perfectly adapted to the semi-desert terrain, and also, like the local camel species, have been largely depleted in their original territory. A small flock of choiques makes its slow way across the plain it shares with the guanacos. The father leads his troops from the front, taking responsibility for all his children. "40 days ago, this male began incubating eggs laid by several females he had mated with. Now he protects and teaches his 30 youngsters how to survive." Recklessly scuttling in between the guanacos and choiques' legs, another creature that only inhabits these Patagonian steppes. The big, hairy armadillo, and that is its real name. An all-terrain armored vehicle that mines the territory where it lives. Like all armadillos, it's an opportunist who knows how to find its rival's Achilles heel. It will take any chance on offer and leaves no prisoners. A pungent odor attracts the armadillo's attention, its extraordinary sense of smell guiding it to anything that might be considered food, including cadavers. On this occasion, it fills its stomach with the remains of a guanaco. It engages enthusiastically in its role as battlefield corpse disposal unit. These remains are of a young guanaco female who died whilst giving birth to her first calf. The female armadillo must feed herself and her own youngsters waiting nearby. The hairy armadillo is a miniature armored mobile unit and as such needs fuel. Too hungry to return immediately to her burrow, her keen sense of smell leads her to the beach. On her way, she comes across other unique neighbors of the Patagonian plains. Elegant crested or martineta tinamu never take off their battle fatigues. In order to lead the discreet life they prefer, these walking birds camouflage themselves to blend with the colors of the steppe. They watch the comings and goings of the marine invaders unconcerned and go about their daily routines unnoticed. Tinamu are perfectly adapted to the tough Patagonian life. Here they find all the seeds and small fruits they need to survive. Southern mountain cavies share a large part of their diet with the tinamus. But these small rodents have many more enemies than the bird because of their size, adults measuring no more than 20 centimeters in length. The armadillo on its way to the beach leads to a hasty stampede towards safety. But soon the cavies re-emerge from their burrow. Even the youngest peek out to observe the commotion of the invasion. Cavies are extremely quick and agile, but even so, they have to take great care with one of their most feared enemies, the burrowing owl. Burrowing owls are abundant in these bare steppes. They live in small holes they either dig for themselves or use those abandoned by armadillos. When it's time to keep watch or look for food, They use one of the few lookout posts the open plains offer. From these natural watchtowers, they survey life as it passes by in Patagonia, such as the edgy progress of the armadillo towards the beach. Closer by, KVs climb to the tops of bushes to search for food. The owl looks on as birds, one eye always kept out for potential danger, feed their chicks. Most of these animals are part of the burrowing owl's diet, but right now, they're too alert to bother trying to hunt them. However, a large grasshopper makes an excellent snack. For owl chicks, any meal is well received. Both owl fledglings are growing fast and will soon emerge from their dark home in search of their own food. Spring is a time of confrontation for the burrowing owls as for the rest of the region's inhabitants on Patagonia's eastern edge, where semi-desert steppes and the giant Atlantic Ocean meet. During this time of plenty, in the shared territory in the south, spirits are permanently high. New reinforcements constantly arrive, ready to stake a claim and fight for their small parcel of territory. This is, at this time of year, one of the most fertile and febrile places on the planet. Yet despite the feverish activity of the invading forces, Patagonia also has secluded ports and bays where the largest fleets can find respite. Whales, arriving in advanced guard convoys, take refuge in a quiet and safe environment to give birth to their calves. They remain here for several months, growing stronger, before beginning their long journey to the freezing Antarctic waters. Mothers and calves play and learn, while maneuvers take place on a narrow strip of land between two worlds. The big hairy armadillo has arrived on the shore, hoping to make the most of the penguin camp. Tens of thousands of penguins have finished their nests. Some couples take turns incubating, greeting each other with full-throated calls. Nearby, chicks in other nests are beginning to hatch. The most advanced parents arrive from the sea with cargoes of food. They patiently provide their offspring with mushy, half-digested fish, which helps their chicks grow quickly. It's the most vulnerable time of their collective lives, with marauding enemies always hanging around the colony. It only takes an instant, a badly executed change of guard, or a momentary distraction to lose everything they've fought so hard for. Gulls will waste neither time nor opening. Sniper-like, they hone in on their victims. A nest left too visible and defenseless is an excellent opportunity to bring food to their own young family. The armadillo does not waste her chance either. An egg is a good meal, and she maneuvers it anxiously, trying to break it. The head plate of her shell serves to crush it against the bush and finally crack it. The battle for survival produces a number of casualties in the penguin encampment, but most parents will succeed in bringing up their youngsters. Meanwhile, the next staggered waves of invaders are about to reach land. Thousands of sea lions now install themselves on the beaches and rocky coasts. Each army that arrives on the coast has its own strategies and its own needs. Female sea lions crowd around a male who will spend the next 2 grueling months defending his territory and trying to copulate with all his harem. Hordes of sea lions throng the beaches with their incessant activity. And this brings them to the attention of the pod of orcas. looking for any opening for a meal. These orcas live in family groups that take advantage of the arrival of the invaders in intervals throughout the year to vary their diet. Each species, each dish, has its time. A sighting of orca fins spreads panic through the amassed sea lions. At the same time, the huge elephant seals are abandoning the beaches for another year. Some females are still feeding their pups nutritious breast milk. The relationship between elephant seal mothers and their young is brief but intense. Breastfeeding lasts for between 20 and 30 days. Their milk is so rich that in that short time, the pup will gain close to 70 kilos, about 3.5 kilos a day. But after 3 weeks, mother elephant seals dive into the sea, leaving their pups to their own defenses. The cubs will stay on the beach for about 2 more months, resting, sleeping, and playing at soldiers. They often engage in fights imitating those of the great male. All around the elephant seal colonies, the orcas keep watch. They know the only good time to attack these massive animals is now, when they are young. The orcas stalk the young elephant seals, waiting for the ideal time to hunt for the bravest youngsters who first dare to go into the water. If they get far enough away, the orcas will not give them another chance. But it's not always necessary for the elephant seal even to reach the water. The Valdez Peninsula orcas know how to hunt on land, in surprise attacks as they propel themselves out of the water. But before they eat, it's time for a lesson. The elephant seal is not killed immediately. The adults in the group will use it to teach the calves in the pod. It may seem cruel, but the orcas train their offspring to catch and manipulate the elephant seal cub. They learn to submerge them or keep them away from the coast, to chase them underwater and catch them again. The survival of the next generation of orcas depends on these lessons being well learned. elephant seals have suffered casualties. But although they may have lost this battle, the war for survival goes on undinted. In Patagonia, everything seems to be conflict. But what brings animal troops together in such vast numbers and in such dispute is, in fact, the very opposite of war: procreation. This is the territory where everyone comes to start their families and watch their little ones grow. They come in a hurry and in huge numbers, simply to continue the circle of their lives, to produce new generations that will sooner or later replace them. Every year, hundreds of thousands of penguins, tens of thousands of sea lions and elephant seals, and hundreds of whales are born and raised on and around these coasts. A turbulent conflict whose one purpose is to create life throughout this extremity of South America in the phenomenon that is Patagonia. Los Llanos, the endless plains of South America, one of the most surprising and least known regions of this fascinating continent. The paradise that is the New World consists, in large part, of a vast plain. An extraordinary place permeated with water that makes huge tracts of open land fertile and productive. Right now, it's a special time. The rivers and streams of the Llanos have overflowed, creating a seasonal, soaked hinterland whose special laws affect the lives of all the beings that inhabit it. For a few months, a considerable portion of the plains is submerged, covered by a shimmering film of water. The sky reflects off the saturated plains, now a glassy mirror, shattered time and time again by birds' feet, and deer hooves. This unique world within a world is one of the richest, most biodiverse and productive wetlands in all America. The endless plains that stretch between Colombia and Venezuela. Life thrives in this all-encompassing Eden boundlessly, unfettered by borders. Wetland birds such as herons, spoonbills and ibis are enjoying a moment of idyllic bliss. Food is plentiful and everywhere to be found. So the birds come together in groups of hundreds or even thousands of individuals. The large trees on the flooded riverbanks turn into Babylonian citadels of many species, colorful, multi-ethnic melting pots. They're like great Eastern bazaars. And the birds are their noisiest, boldest neighbors. Until the aerial city is vacated, little by little, and all is left silent. In the mornings, the residents of the arboreal metropolis spread out over the vast plain to begin their daily tasks. But among all the creatures that inhabit this paradise, the most imposing is neither as noisy nor as colorful as the birds. It's a curious animal that looks not unlike a hippopotamus in miniature. The design of its head is very particular, a clear indication of its semi-aquatic way of life. Its nose, eyes, and small ears are all positioned on the top of its head, an adaptation that allows it to see, hear, and breathe while the rest of its body is wholly submerged. Given its size and robust population numbers, the capybara is the principal ecological agent on the plains. It consumes huge quantities of vegetable matter, mostly grasses and aquatic plants, which are transformed into a large, bulky body that may reach 75 kilos. It's not surprising, then, that the plains' most powerful predators prowl in search of these oversized but peaceful rodents. With sleek bodies adapted to an amphibious life, capybaras move at ease through the flooded plain. Even the youngest individuals are adept swimmers and divers. In family clans, they splash about the marshy territory. But when it's time to eat, the youngsters need dry land. The family group grazes for hours while their leader keeps guard. It's time for a little warm, nutritious milk. These capybara pups have been born in the season of exuberant plenty. Wherever they look, wherever they go, the family has fresh grasses to eat. The plains are an ideal home for the capybaras, a perfect paradise. During this season, family groups are scattered everywhere, led by large males, among whose tasks it is to ensure the safety of the clan. Paradise it may be, but it's not always a safe place, especially when the owner of a set of giant claws approaches. As soon as he detects danger, the male capybara emits an alarm call and the clan flees by water. A false alarm, this time. It was only a giant anteater, another characteristic inhabitant of the plains. Giant anteaters must keep up a good pace as they roam the plains. Their diet, composed exclusively of ants and termites, means that finding food is a time-consuming business. Anteaters' excellent sense of smell guides them across the open land on the trail of tasty termites. But the dampness of the season means that smells are not so effectively dispersed, forcing the anteaters to travel more often, constantly in search of their favorite insects. Some creatures have better luck and do not have to walk so much. The saturated plains are spongy and green, and a tamandua, a small tree-loving anteater, decides to go down onto terra firma to look for food within the loose, damp soil. Tamandua take advantage of the season for a change of diet and will feed on insects other than the ants and termites which make up their somewhat tedious habitual diet. The tamandua sticks its long snout into the soft earth. Its muzzle is a high-precision instrument equipped with super-sensitive receptors that can detect smells, tastes, and even movement. Carpe diem. During these days of plenty, it may find creamy and nutritious fly and beetle larvae. The plains are now an Eden, a promised land. As well as birds of all kinds and colors and numerous families of capybara, the vast territory also enjoyed by fish and Orinoco crocodiles grows even larger with the rains. The region of Los Llanos is as large as the whole of France. It's located in the north of the Southern American continent, in the Orinoco Basin, in terms of volume of water, the third largest river in the world. The plains are a heterogeneous savanna whose southern edge is delineated by the Orinoco River and which extend towards the north in all directions. The Orinoco forms a natural territorial border within this gigantic ecosystem. When the waters begin to recede, the river returns to its more usual, less affluent course. Even so, in places, it still stretches over a kilometer from bank to bank. As the rainy season gradually reaches its end, some of the oldest rocks on the planet emerge, sleeping giants perfectly polished by the mighty river. These dormant dinosaurs are full of life. In amongst them, beneath their great forms, live more of the plains' semi-aquatic animals. Giant otters. This family of otters is on patrol around the ancient sculpted rocks. The river habitat is astonishingly prolific. Birds, Orinoco crocodiles and turtles are all around. And overhead, hiding among the branches, hoatzins. Hoatzins are famed for their appearance, especially when young, when they exhibit certain ancestral abilities moving among the branches. Using their forelimbs and vestigial claws that protrude from their wings, they really do seem like visitors from the Jurassic Age. Yet despite their size, they remain well hidden among the foliage, only revealing their presence when they sound the alarm and flee from possible danger in clumsy flight. A unique characteristic of this species is that their digestion is similar to that of cows. Their stomachs are aided by bacteria which produce a smell like cattle droppings. This seems to protect them from predators and has given them their common name, stinkbirds. The stinkbird's foul smell is this species' particular chemical defense, passed down through the generations. While the last raindrops at the last storm of the season fall, hoatzin parents feed their chicks. When regurgitating food, a good dose of stinking bacteria is also transferred to their offspring, helping them not only to digest the food, but also become a very unappetizing dish to potential predators. There's a great variety of inhabitants of the riparian forests. Some reach numbers of such magnitude that they become genuine pests. Dawn, and an innumerable cloud of tiny creatures takes possession of the riverbanks. It's a warning sign of something changing in the environment. Thousands of millions of mosquitoes form throbbing clouds that seem like shimmering mirages. The movement of these massive agglomerations of insects produces a disconcerting spectacle. The invasion penetrates every corner of the Orinoco. It's an annoying seasonal development for many local inhabitants. But for others, it's very beneficial. The river that provokes the plague also provides its antidote. Within the dark, primordial interior of the giant rocks, polished and broken by the river, bats are waking up for a night of action. As dusk advances, the flying mammals become ever more restless. And while the bats are gearing up to fly, some birds take advantage of the plague of mosquitoes for a late supper. The mosquito plague coincides with the change of season. It's a dramatic indication of what is around the corner. After the scourge of the mosquito comes another punishment of biblical magnitude. Drought. storms and clouds vanish in the beat of a wing. The heat evaporates all the water on the plains, and in a question of a few days, the landscape changes utterly, the paradise soon becoming a living hell. The infinite green fades completely. Where a few days ago crocodiles patrolled and herons stalked the millions of fish that swam, a broken patchwork of dry land is all that remains. The plains are now empty, desolate, and dusty. The Garden of Eden disappears, moment by moment, leaving only an inferno in its place. This is the other face of the plains, the Mr. Hyde aspect of its dual personality. While the water ebbs away on all sides, taking refuge in the last puddles and streams, the plains are transformed into a barren, isolated wilderness. Surely, this is as bad as things can get. But like a curse out of nowhere, another biblical plague seems to be descending. Buzzing across the plains, as if conjured by witchcraft, millions of locusts swarm through the deserted savanna. Here in the plains, everything moves in colossal proportions. The fecund plains, with their noisy flocks of birds and contented families of capybara, seem to have evaporated. Desert overtakes the landscape, the plains now the kingdom of the locusts. The locusts reduce the vegetation to dust, to nothing. Their implacable, guillotine-like mouths chew on every blade of vegetation. However, although the locusts are the new lords of the plains, they do not reign in peace. Locusts are manna literally from heaven for the birds of prey that live here, a providential food that flies in huge quantities. Caracaras, buzzards and eagles gather in their dozens around the cloud of insects. The northern crested caracaras are the best organized. Groups of 6 or 7 hunt in cooperation, like a wolf pack. Their lines of attack scatter the locusts, which take off as they advance. And as they flee, the swarming insects pass close to the birds, who take the opportunity to capture a snack on the wing. For several hours a day, the various species of birds of prey make the most of the surplus of locusts to fill their stomachs. The predators of the plains must take advantage of this abundance of food while it lasts, hunting until the last light of day. And when darkness falls, the night shift takes over. The drop in temperature makes the locusts sluggish. With their movement reduced almost to the point of paralysis, something is stalking them. A small plains mouse feasts thanks to the locust's immobility. Every cloud has a silver lining, even a cloud of locusts, which is a gift from the desert plains as much for the mouse as for the birds. It's the only time in the whole year they will have access to so much protein. As time goes by, the drama intensifies. The pools and channels dry up completely. While they still can, crocodiles, tortoises and capybara make use of the hot mud and water. But little by little, each puddle becomes a deadly trap. With no options left, crocodiles and capybara wearily head out of the mud traps in search of one last watering hole. And so begins an anxious exodus, an agonizing race against the clock. It's a risky operation, but staying is even more dangerous. Deadly, even. The search for water is not only asphyxiating, it's perilous at every step. Many of the refugees will not make it. The fresh grass has disappeared, replaced by dusty earth, and not all the pilgrims will reach what remains of their former paradise. For anacondas, so much migrating fauna is a good opportunity. Anacondas also take refuge in the gallery forests, the last place on the plains to offer some respite. These huge snakes that may exceed 10 meters in length hide in the mud and fallen leaves. The anacondas are anxious for the return of the rains, but also await the misstep of some off-guard animal. Anacondas often remain in their ambushes for days, but sometimes, if they detect the passage of a traveler, they will emerge from their hiding place. A few small Orinoco crocodiles are an excellent opportunity for a young anaconda. Young or not, crocodiles will not willingly become someone else's food. And though tired, they are still strong and healthy enough to defend themselves. Nothing will stop them from getting to one of the few oases left on the plains, not even a hungry anaconda. Everyone is looking for sanctuary where the water still flows. The gallery forests, a hidden haven of fresh, running water. Despite the brutal seasonal drought, in the brooks and streams of the riparian zone, life is somewhat easier. Crystal-clear freshwater springs, the last remnants of a happy world, are filled with tropical fish that swim in small shoals. It's a striking contrast to the drought and death that prevails on the adjacent plains. Dozens of different species of fish swim in the river and pools. And yet, despite its welcoming appearance, this habitat is not necessarily a perfect paradise for its piscine inhabitants, who need to be cautious. Not far away, a primitive rock-like reptile dives in search of a place to hide. A mata-mata turtle heads from the muddy bank towards clearer waters in search of food. The mata-mata is propelled along the riverbed by the current, searching for somewhere that meets its needs. The mata-mata turtle is an expert aquatic hunter, employing camouflage and ambush. Its hunting methods require patience in the extreme. Once it's found its hiding place, its motionless vigil begins. While the turtle hides in plain sight, stock still, the fish grow in confidence. Eventually, they will let their guard down and get too close to the patient hunter. Then, without knowing how or why, one after the other, they disappear into a mouth that moves so quickly, it's hard to see. While a deadly game of hide-and-seek is played out in the crystal-clear springs, out on the plains, the heat increases. Up in the branches of the forest, howler monkeys rest and cool off. Some members of the clan nibble at leaves and look for fleshy fruits to quench their thirst. The riverside forest can supply them with food for an entire year, but under the scorching sun of the dry season, the monkeys will expend the minimum of effort and employ much more time napping than looking for food. And yet, despite their drowsiness, they're always on guard. The soft sound of a few unseen steps puts them on alert. They've been discovered by the plains' greatest predator, a puma. But for the moment, there's no immediate danger. The great cat is also feeling the effects of the heat and the drought, and is too tired to hunt. After the alarm passes, calm descends on the troop once more, and the howlers look for some shade in which to wait for the afternoon when the air cools a little. Even the much-feared puma enters into a semi-catatonic state between wakefulness and sleep, catnapping, while it casually spies on everything happening around it. Nap time is a rare moment of truce between hunter and hunted. Some of the plains exiles, exhausted and sickly, reach the riparian forest. The puma sees and is not seen. It does not appear overly interested in a sick capybara. This caracara, however, is very excited. Its lucky day, perhaps. The exhausted capybara breathes its last without reaching the water. The journey has been too much for it. Like all cats, the puma cannot help being curious. It comes down to check out the capybara's corpse. For its part, the caracara is not impressed. Finders are most definitely keepers in these difficult times. But the puma is not particularly interested. With food aplenty in the forest, if the feline can avoid it, it will not eat anything it's not killed itself. It is indeed the caracara's lucky day, and it can eat its fill. Capybara, one way or another, during drought or rain, are the first link of the food chain of the plains. Capybara, be they alive or dead, share their territory with red-footed turtles. And when the reptiles are busy with their courtship rituals, the punishing drought seems to bother them very little. These turtles are well equipped to withstand the dry conditions. So while many animals are at the mercy of the inclement conditions, a male red-footed turtle begins the courtship of his chosen female. He follows her trail in the dry soil. And to earn the favors of a female, a male must be perseverant. He will need to deploy both strength and charm to gain access to the most intimate area of her protective shell. Love opens a path between drought and hopelessness. A message of life, of change. After such considerable effort, the male turtle goes to the stream to cool off and recompose himself. Capybaras, hoatzins, and other exiles seem to be doing the same. Other much smaller creatures, such as wasps, also need their little dose of liquid in order to survive. The wasps drink fast and head back to their nest at top speed. Life on the plains never stops. The wasp nest is at full capacity, the coming and going is constant, and getting too close might be dangerous. Orioles know this very well. But instead of avoiding the wasps, they construct their nests near to those of the insects. Despite the heat, the orioles are also in their breeding season and are busy building their elaborately constructed homes. The pairs of orioles sew and weave without pause, except for the males, who now and then perform their little love dance. The wasp nest is right in the middle of the oriole colony, each species benefiting from mutual protection. On the one hand, predators don't dare to come too close to the birds' nests, and on the other hand, the orioles deter insect hunters from approaching the wasp's nest. It's a win-win situation. The hustle and bustle in the combined insect-bird colony is another omen that something is going to change. On Los Llanos, everything is a matter of time. Hell and heaven alternate. The clock reaches its zenith, and it is once more time for change. Like a blessing from heaven, the rains return. No matter how hard the punishment has been, its time draws to a close very suddenly, and everything changes again. The curse comes to an end, but the drama continues. The plains are one of the harshest yet most beautiful of American habitats, a land of infinite horizons torn between two extremes. Their simple appearance hides a staggering and intriguing biodiversity, a multitude of extraordinary beings that adapt to the extreme drought of summer and the overwhelming floods of winter. The rains return, the Llanos are flooded again, and the rivers and lakes reappear. Capybara, crocodiles, birds and fish all regain their territory, striving and thriving as they live their lives caught between the two irresistible aspects of the great Llanos of Colombia and Venezuela.